From Thruway Lanes in Cheektowaga, New York, USA Network presents the Professional Bowlers Tour. And tonight, it's the $100,000 Buffalo Open. And these are our 5 finalists. In 5th place with 27 PBA titles, second best in PBA history, 3-time Bowler of the Year, Mark Roth. The 4th place finisher has won twice on the PBA Tour, both times on USA, Steve Fair. Qualifying 3rd is the hottest bowler on the tour, looking to become only the 4th bowler in history to win 3 straight titles, Marshall Holman. In 2nd place is one of the leading candidates for Bowler of the Year with 3 titles in 1983, Tom Milton. And the man they'll be shooting at, this week's leader, bowling 1 game for $13,000 and his first individual title, Sam Zurich. The Buffalo Open on USA is brought to you in part by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. By Mobile Detergent Gasoline for your everyday driving needs. By Levi's Jeans, Cords, and Shirts for quality and style you can count on. And by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA One, and USA One is taking charge. After spending some straight hot weeks on the southern circuit of the PBA Summer Tour, the tour has come north. But one thing that remains hot is Marshall Holman. I'm Al Troutwig along with Mike Durbin, welcoming you to the $100,000 Buffalo Open. Marshall's won 2 weeks in a row, Mike, and he's trying to become only the 4th bowler to win for the 3rd straight time. But let's talk about the bowlers first who are trying to beat him. First of all, Sam Zurich.
Sam Zurich is the leading qualifier in this tournament, Alan. We have an award that we give on the PBA Tour. It's called the Nice Guy Award, Good Guy Award. It's the Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award, and Sam Zurich won it last year. He's a soft-spoken, quiet guy. He gets along well with everyone out here. He has 2 titles, one a regional title and one a national title. They were both doubles titles, so he's trying to win for the first time by himself as a singles. He's a bowler that's had a lot of potential, and we've always expected him to win. Maybe today will be his time.
One bowler who has figured prominently on the PBA Tour in 1983 is Tom Milton. He's already has 3 titles to his credit this year. He's been hot. He bowls very interestingly.
Well, Tom throws that big hook. He's very tall. He's 6'3", and he throws a tremendous hook. In the 8th frame of the position round game last night, he threw a ball out so wide that I never thought it had a chance to get back, and it just roared back and hit solid. He generates a lot of area as he's throwing the ball. I personally think he's the man that's going to win today. He's won 3 times. If he wins today, it'll be his 4th title. He'll have twice as many victories as anyone else. Would really put him right in the picture for Bowler of the Year.
Well, if you were looking at our show last week, you saw Marshall Holman stand right next to Mike and I and accept his winner's check and announce on the air that he said, well, I better bowl Buffalo. I'm bowling very, very well. And indeed, he is here. He is in the TV finals. Let's talk about him. He's bowling very well.
Well, Marshall Holman throws a tremendous ball, but sometimes the most exciting part of Marshall Holman's game is after he's thrown the ball, watching him in his gyrations as he runs the strike out, or as he wrenches his teeth or slaps his hands or stares at his opponent, which he did last week. We saw a lot of that. Trying to win 3 in a row, Alan, is a tough task. The competition out here is fierce. As you say, there's only been 3 other bowlers in PBA history that have been able to do it. He has to win 3 games today on television to be able to do it. I wish him well, but it's a tough task. We'll see if he can do it.
Those 3 bowlers are Dick Weber, Johnny Petraglia, and Mark Roth. Last week, Marshall Holman wrapped up his victory with a 290, the highest game that we've seen on USA Network and the highest TV game thus far this year. Earlier, I had a chance to talk with Marshall about what he faces tonight. Marshall, 1 game for the title 2 weeks ago, 2 games for the title 1 week ago. If you're going to win here in Buffalo, you need 3 games. How do you feel?
I'm ready, Alan. You know, things have been really falling well for me on television in the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure if there'll ever be another chance for me to win 3 in a row, so I've got to take it for all it's worth today.
You're going up against some very stiff competition here, including Mark Roth, perhaps, who's won 3 titles in a row, and you had a hand in that, so you know what it's like to be caught up in the emotion of winning 3 titles in a row.
Well, yeah, I was fortunate to be Mark's partner that year in doubles, and we won the doubles tournament, and then I just sat back and watched Mark Roth throw probably 3 of the greatest shots I've ever seen in my life. To win his 3rd title, he needed 3 strikes in the 10th frame against Bobby Fligman of California to win the tournament. He had not hit the right-hand lane the whole game. He went bang, 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 10 in the pit, great shots, just impressed everybody. It was really quite an event to see.
Now, Marshall, after we see you make a shot in our coverage of USA, we have to decide whether to see the shot again or to see you again and your reaction. Your reactions are unbelievably spectacular at times. Now, what part does that play in your success?
I think it plays a big part in my success. I know when I was having trouble on television finals, my father would say, "Come on, Marshall, get pumped up and show emotion and be excited." And it plays a very big part. I was very, very emotional in the tournament in Austin, and the tournament in Venice. Well, I was twice as emotional. It's hard for me to think that I could be any more emotionally involved in the game and with my annex in this tournament than I was last week. But I'm fired up. Like I said, you don't have many chances to win 3 in a row. I've got to take it for all it's worth.
And Marshall this week also bowled a 300 game to continue. Now, he has 2 titles. Tom Milton has 3, and there's a scramble now to give Earl Anthony some competition for Bowler of the Year between those 2.
Well, right. They're both chasing Earl Anthony right now. If Marshall wins today, he would have 3, which would be 1 more than Earl. If Milton wins, he'll have 4, which would be 2 more than Earl. It would really, if either one of those 2 players win today, it's going to really throw the Bowler of the Year race up in the air.
Well, the 5 bowlers we'll see tonight have more than 40 PBA titles to their credit. A great field. Mark Roth, the 27-time PBA title holder, will go up against Steve Fair, the sophomore on the PBA Tour, when we return with the PBA on USA after this.
Working around here, a guy gets very wet on the outside and very dry on the inside.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. The rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind. Whoa, whoa, welcome to Miller Time.
Welcome to the rich, smooth taste of Miller High Life.
Welcome, well you know you're welcome. Welcome, everybody's welcome. Welcome to Miller Time, yours and mine.
When you're taking a trip for business or pleasure, it's nice to know the best places to stay and eat along the way. The Mobile Travel Guide comes in 7 regional editions. It quality rates hotels, motels, and restaurants from 1 to 5 stars. You get easy-to-follow maps and coupons worth up to 50% off on attractions and places to stay. The Mobile Travel Guide. It'll make your trip 5-star all the way.
Levi's, beige, corduroy, Levi's, green, corduroy, Levi's, blue, corduroy, Levi's, tan, corduroy, Levi's, white, gray, brown, cream, corduroy, corduroy, corduroy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Cord, 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 cords, cord, cord, cord.
For the 17th time in Buffalo, the PBA Tour will decide a champion. And in Game 1, hoping to move forward, is Steve Fair, 28 years old, a 2-time PBA title winner on the right side of your screen. And to the left, the very familiar face of 32-year-old, 27 PBA title veteran, Mark Roth from Wall Township, New Jersey. It was in Limerick, Pennsylvania last year that Mark Roth last won, and that was on USA at the PBA Regional Classic.
In fact, both these bowlers won on the fall tour last year, with Steve Fair winning twice, closing out by winning the Brunswick Memorial World Open in Chicago.
214.6 Fair's average this week.
Both bowlers will be playing close to the 3rd arrow on lanes 47 and 8 here. And Steve Fair starts it out with a solid strike.
Let's focus in on Steve Fair for a moment.
Very unusual approach here. You see the arm bend as he gets into the backswing, completely bent, but it straightens out at the bottom. See how straight it is at the bottom? Stiff-legged, straight to the ball. Great result. Mark Roth, week 10. Mark Roth also playing in around the 3rd arrow, still using those choppy little steps, that high backswing, and pulls that ball through hard. Ball just didn't quite finish on lane 48. Watch how Mark shoots his spare. He goes cross lane, flattens the ball out, and throws it 100 miles an hour, somewhat like Joe Berardi does. He once made the 7-10 on television by throwing it so hard at that 10-pin, he bounced it around and made it the 7-pin just like it was supposed to happen.
He has a tremendous amount of power, and while he doesn't look as graceful as some of the other bowlers, he's just had the ability to win 27 times.
Made it work for him once or twice, hasn't he? Yeah.
Only Earl Anthony has one more.
And only Earl Anthony has one more in career money.
Mark is 26th on the earnings list this year. Look at that, the elbows come in together.
Gets it way out on the lane. There's the old, is it going to fall? Mark Roth used to live on that light hit where he just hit him thin and watch him spin, as Billy Rayleigh used to say. But he didn't know they were going to spin enough on this. And see these choppy little steps. Now watch the ball at the top of the swing. See that wrist snap through. Mark runs it out over here to the right.
Back to Steve Fair, looking for his first title of 1983. Won twice last year.
Steve can jump right out to a 10-pin lead if he can double. A little high and trips the 4-pin out of there.
And Steve Fair will be working on a double.
That was hard to do this week, Alan. A lot of 4-pins left this week, a lot of 4-9s. You see the ball go just left of the third arrow, maybe right over it. Watch your 2-pin, third from the left. Goes off the wall and just nudges that 4-pin right out of there.
Steve definitely has the body of an athlete. Spends a lot of time exercising and conditioning. And so far in 1983, he's won $37,000, just a little bit more than Mark Roth.
Very meticulous player. Takes his time, sets himself perfectly. Looks like he should be an accountant for a CPA firm or something.
I'll let him do my taxes.
Takes a lot of time, though. He says he wants to concentrate as fully as he can on every shot. Little light, solid 10. Wow, good shot. He wanted that one badly.
And so the standing 10 pins are one apiece.
The only difference was Mark's was weak and his was solid. See that concentration, determination on his face? Good follow through. He's watching. He knows it's a good shot at this point. He's just saying carry now. Watch this. Ooh, the teeth come together. I guess Marshall Holman's not the only one that can gritch the teeth. Huh?
60 feet away, the
Uses
10 pin.
Another ball to shoot the 10 pin. One that goes straighter, converts it easily.
And now back to Mark Roth. Bowled 8 straight weeks on the winter tour, needed some time off. His best finish of the year was 3rd at the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
He bowled very well that week. Comes in light and gets that light hit. That's the old Mark Roth right there with that light hit.
Well, his body English prevented us from seeing that as clearly as we might have, but they all went down.
That's just a typical wall shot hit where he gets that tremendous lift and turn that he was famous for in the 70s. Buries those fingers, jams them in there. Takes very little time. Both hands up there, choppy little steps. Way out on the lane. Brings it in there perfect. Great shot there.
And Mark Roth has slid into the lead by 11 pins. Steve Fair now bowling in the 4th frame. Steve in his sophomore year on the tour, his 2nd.
Steve's had every ball in the pocket. It appears the right lane is hooking just a little earlier, a little more than the left lane. Little light, and he gets a wall shot. So the boys weren't striking in practice. Believe me, I was watching them in practice, and when they ended up, they weren't getting many, but they saved them all for the right time now. As he goes back to that bottle that we saw last year. And we see here, Roth with 20 in the first and a triple working. Actually, he's got 50 in the second. And Fair with 69 in the third and a strike up. The difference is 11 pins at this point.
What's in that little bottle?
It's some kind of stickum, something to help him grip the ball just a little bit better, some kind of rosin. He's taking a re-rack on lane 47. Again, he's allowed 3 per game, and he's taking the first of his 3. He left that solid 10. You remember back in the 3rd frame on this lane, it might have been the rack. Many times when we bowlers leave those solid 10s, we blame those racks. There he is with that unusual grip, with that index finger in the ball. As a conventional grip, that index finger is. Only bowler in the tour to try it or do that. And he's high and full penalty.
Big
4, 6, 10. Big shot right there. Just a little short with the shot. He did not get the ball out to his target. It's a little left. It hooks too early right now, and it's high. Does not get any break at breaking up the split. As a virtual impossible. 4, 6, 10. And gets 8 out. He went for it all the way in a one-game match. Cost him 2 pins and count.
That's on the left lane. Let's see if he continues to have trouble there.
Winds up putting Mark Roth up by 25 pins at this point in the match.
And that's the midway point of Game 1 at the Buffalo Open on USA. And we'll continue with Steve Fair and Mark Roth after these messages coast to coast.
Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge with Chevy S10 Blazer 4-wheel drive. So advanced it was named 4x4 of the year. S10 Blazer 4x4 leads the imports with InstaTrack, the only system that lets you shift from freewheeling 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive high and back at any speed. S10 Blazer leads Bronco 2 with 2-wheel drive they don't offer, a 4-cylinder engine they don't have, and mileage they can't touch. Chevy S10 Blazer. Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge.
In the beginning, man's feet walked free, but the road to civilization was paved, so man developed shoes. Soon after that, man developed athlete's foot.
Egad.
Now at last there's Mycotin. Mycotin cures athlete's foot. It's the only athlete's foot medicine you can buy with myconazole, an ingredient available for the first time without a doctor's prescription. Mycotin in spray, powder, or cream. Mycotin, the end of the road for athlete's foot.
A double play. Anyone who pitches for a living loves a beautifully turned twin killing. Hi, this is Tom Seaver for the Sporting News, and we have a twin killing for you. 2 issues for the price of 1 to introduce you to the Sporting News, the Sports Bible. That's right, you'll get 26 issues of the Sporting News for just $9.99. 2 for the price of 1. And you can't buy the Sporting News for a lower price anywhere. It's the magazine that gives me the no-nonsense details of all Major League sports and college action. To love sports is to love the Sporting News, the Sports Bible. Why don't you subscribe today, and here's a friend to tell you how.
That's right, Tom. You get the Sporting News at the low rate of 38 cents an issue. 26 issues for $9.99. That's half the regular subscription price. Call toll-free 1-800-USA-1000. In Georgia, 1-800-222-7272. That's 1-800-USA-1000. In Georgia, 1-800-222-7272.
Here's a look at someone who helps us out each and every week, except this week he was very successful. Mark Williams of Beaumont, Texas, who usually does our stats, and he was on top and just fell short in that last round.
He was on top with 1 round to go with 8 games, and sometimes things slip away from you, and they slipped away from Mark. I know he felt bad not making the telecast, but he's bowling better. It's 2 finals in a row for him. Maybe next week he'll get into that championship round.
Wish he made it. I had a lot of interesting things I wanted to say about it.
There's Mark's wife, Jackie. On 3 in a row, trying for 4. And neither bowler gets a break. That's the exact thing he did not want to happen. At that point, if Mark strikes, he can put Fair away. He leaves the 4-7-10, a potential open. And again, he's left of target. He's aiming at the 3rd arrow, and you see the ball hit left of it. No hold, right through the nose, and again, doesn't break up the split. Hard and straight at it. Doesn't make it. And we've got a very close match at this point now.
Mark Roth is ticked off. Steve Fair is relieved. It's now only a 10-pin lead for Roth.
Just to show you the difference that made, Alan, if Mark would have struck on that ball, he would have been up by 35 pins. He opened, and it's a 10-pin difference right now.
We saw Mark Roth's wife, Jackie. They have their little daughter, Stephanie, here as well. She's a cutie.
Well, I haven't seen her yet. I'll have to.
She is a cutie.
Way out on the lane, right back in the pocket. Ooh, the 9-pin went out of there slow. There were a lot of 4-9s this week.
He gets a lot of action on his pins, doesn't he?
He always did. He always did. That's what he was, one of the first power players to come along, and really now the tour is just inundated with power players, but he was one of the first ones to come along.
And he's up near $1 million in career earnings.
He'll get there. It's only a matter of time. Cross lane at the 4-pin. And makes it on the left. But he puts Steve Fair back in the match now.
It is only a 10-pin lead. Steve Fair has got some pretty good numbers in his favor as well. In only his second year, he's up to $119,000 in career earnings.
Not a bad average, considering he hardly made any money on the Winter Tour last year. A little high, breaks down the split, leaves only the 4-7. He's pleased with that. He didn't break down those splits very often this week. Every time I hit that nose, I wound up getting a split this week, or many times.
Steve Fair's wife, Nancy, they have 2 children as well, Jeffrey and Stacy.
Right now, my daughter is babysitting for both of them.
Is that right?
Right.
Everybody's working.
Got to earn some money some way. Makes the 4-7.
And it is still a 10-pin lead for Mark Roth as we bowl now in the 7th frame.
Right.
You can see the open frame for Roth was in the 5th. The open frame for Fair was as well in the 5th. Harry Golden, tournament director, checking out the alignment on the left lane, which is lane 47.
Evidently, Steve's used his allotment of re-racks up already. He's given the okay on this one to Steve Fair, and they like this one better. Steve patting that ball. Gave this one more room. Pretty shot. Pretty shot. Any rack. That would have been a strike with any rack there.
He breaks the drought. He had gone 2 frames without a strike.
You see how much closer to the foul line he sets the ball down, gets the ball rolling much sooner than Mark Roth does. Mark Roth gets the ball well over the foul line, and the ball rolls much later down the lane. And this one slides by and leaves the 2-5. See, there's the adjustment. He went high the last time. He probably moved to board, thinking that the lane was breaking down, gave it a little more room, and it didn't come back. So those kind of adjustments that really frustrate a pro bowler. Sometimes we adjust for shots that maybe we did not throw as well as we should have, and it's the wrong thing to do. He's probably going to throw hard and straight at this 2-5 and not try and hook it at all. And he makes it. That was our tip last week.
You taught him how to make that one?
Well, I didn't teach him how, but maybe he was watching. I don't know. Right now he's 8 pins ahead as we head to the 8th frame, working on a spare. He seems to have lost the momentum he had earlier in the match.
And he wants a re-rack as well on that left lane.
Evidently the left lane is setting a bad rack quite frequently.
He was the PBA Player of the Year 3 times, 77, 78, and 79. You know what I was surprised to read is that his championship round record is less than 500. He's 44 and 55.
And you see Mark spreading that index finger out, cupping that wrist, and he snaps through with those fingers, and the ball never went into a roll. He just didn't get it back. Leaves the 2-pin. Many great players have less than 500 records on television. I don't know what Earl Anthony's record is right offhand, but I know he's lost a lot of games on television. Mark seems to have lost the pocket right now at this point in the match. Has an easy spare here with the 2-pin. But he's let Steve Fair have second life. Has the 2-pin.
An open frame in the 5th, and then 3 straight spares for Mark Roth. Still a 7-pin lead.
Right now, if Steve Fair can strike on lane 48, he'll take the lead as the closing frames are coming up. And patting that ball with his left hand as he gets himself ready to go. Very little push away. a little light, and it didn't make it back. The same thing that Mark Roth's ball did. They're a little short of their target, and it goes high. They give it a little room, and it's the dinner bucket, the 2-4-5-8. He thought he threw this ball halfway decent. It just never bit the lane. It keeps sliding here where it should turn over and come back, and the 1 pin does not hit the 2, goes right around, and unless that head pin hits the 2 pin, you can't strike.
How many times have you heard a bowler say, I thought I threw that one perfect?
Well, that happens. I mean, very difficult spare right here now, too. And he chops the 2 right off the 5, just snapped right at the back end. And this is a match of here you take it, no, I don't want it. He plays it from the left, right over about the middle arrow, pretty close to his strike line. And it just snaps right here and chops that 2 right straight off the 5. It's a tough spare right now. 143 in the 8th frame. He's now 19 pins. He must strike here in the 9th frame. If he strikes, he's still potential 203. Right now, if Mark Roth would strike spare out, he's going at 202 pace. High again. Breaks down the 3-6-10, leaves only the 3-6, and Steve has lost the pocket also. The lanes are not easy out there right now.
They both seem to be experimenting during the game.
Well, it's just that they're not aiming it very much. Right now, they really got to splice their target with the right speed and right lift, and they're not doing it every time. It's just that simple. Converts the 3-6, but boy, the door's wide open now for Mark Roth.
But he's in trouble, too.
But all he needs to do is mark twice, and he locks him out. If he can mark in the 9th frame and 10th frame, he's going to win the first match. When you got to hope for your opponent to open, you're in bad trouble. Way out of the lane, and it snaps through high, breaks up the split, leaves only the 6-10. Again, there's the adjustment. He went light last time on that lane. Neither one of them know what to do. But he has a very makeable spare, especially with his speed and how he flattens the ball out at these spares on the right side of the lane. He should have no trouble with a 6-10. Hard and straight at it. And makes it on the left. 17 pins ahead, heading for the 10th frame. Needs a spare in the 10th frame. There we see it. 143 in the 8th with a spare up in the 9th for Fair. 160 in the 8th with a spare up in the 9th for Roth. 17 pins ahead. Needs a spare or a strike here in the 10th frame to be the winner. Takes very little time. Comes in light and almost had the dinner bucket. Leaves the 2-4-5, and he needs to make this.
Well, these 2 marks that he needs are challenging little marks.
They're not the easiest in the world, right? We saw Steve Fair miss this right now. If he would miss this, he would wind up with 186. And Steve Fair is still potential 193. He needs to make this and actually get 8 pins or 7 pins. And there's Jackie looking on. She knows the score. And chops the 2-4-5. The same thing. Winds up with 186. And Steve Fair again has second life. Shoots it from the left. Very little turn. Hard, but still it breaks right there and chops that 2 right off the 5. We talked about that in last week's tip, how all of us do that.
Mark's reaction to that was censored.
Definitely censored. Still, Steve Fair has a tough task. He needs 2 strikes, has to take it one at a time. He needs this first one. High, does not get the break, leaves at 6-9, and neither bowler could take advantage of the openings that the other one gave.
Well, that better change because Marshall Holman's waiting.
Definitely. Marshall's got to be licking his chops over there thinking I can do better than 180. But the lanes certainly do not look easy right at this point in the match. And it remains to be seen who's going to take over and win this tournament.
Mark Roth surviving an open 10th frame.
Doesn't happen very often to give you a chance like that, and that he doesn't take advantage of it. Steve Fair finishes up with 180 even. So Roth wins the first game 186 to 180.
And Mark Roth and Steve Fair are talking about how confusing the lanes were. I'm sure Roth wondering what he might do to get his game back on track. And get it back on track he must, because in the wings waiting is Marshall Holman. And we'll get to game 2 of the Buffalo Open on USA after these messages on your cable systems.
For 8 hours a day, we're doing what we like doing. Can't beat that.
Wanna bet?
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. The rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind. So welcome to Miller Time.
Welcome to the rich, smooth taste of Miller High Life.
Fresh and clean as a whistle. That's Irish Spring. Fresh and clean as a whistle.
Irish Spring's green and white stripes have 2 truly effective deodorants. 2 deodorants.
And a fine fresh scent. So you're fresh and
clean as a whistle.
That's Irish Spring deodorant soap. Gets you fresh and clean as a whistle.
Tom really likes his room. It's in a supportive, loving home, but it's not in his real home. This is Tom's room at Boys Town. His old room was dark and dirty and cramped. His father beat him there, then locked him in. At Father Flanagan's boys' home, Tom and lots of other boys and girls are getting the special care they desperately need, but the costs add up quickly. In fact, it takes $15 every day just to give Tom the medical care, food, and clothing he must have. If you would share only $15 a month, your concern will help make sure Tom and other troubled youngsters continue to benefit from the safe, healing life Boys Town offers. Call now and get all the details on how your $15 a month will let us reach out to seriously abused, neglected, handicapped, and homeless youth. There's no obligation. The call is free, and so is the pledge information you'll receive. Please, call right away.
The all-time money winner in PBA history is Earl Anthony. Number 2 is the man on the left, Mark Roth. And number 3 is the man on the right, Marshall Holman. Quite a battle we have here in Game 2 in an effort to determine the 1983 Buffalo Open champion here on USA. And we look at the unorthodox style of Mark Roth, barely surviving with Steve Fair, winning by 6 pins after leaving the 10th frame open. And really the emotion right now is confusion.
Definitely. He was chatting with his wife, Jackie, in between there, trying to tell her how difficult these lanes were. Mark Roth is confused right at this point. I don't know whether he can get it back together. I don't know how Marshall Holman's going to bowl.
Well, Marshall Holman looked very cool this week indeed, bowling a 300 game, looking smooth. He's going to have to beat a man who's won 27 PBA titles. And earlier I had a chance to talk with Mark Roth. Dick Weber has done it, Johnny Petraglia has done it, and Mark Roth has done it. They've won 3 titles in a row. You're going up against someone who's trying to do that. So you know what Marshall Holman feels like. What are your thoughts bowling against him?
Well, Marshall's a very good friend. We bowl doubles together, and when we get on the lanes, it's me against him, and the best man's going to win. And whoever wins the match, he could possibly go on and win. And if things go right for me, I can go on and beat him.
What did it feel like for you when you were winning those titles in a row?
Well, one of them was doubles that Marshall and I bowled at San Jose. And the next week was in, I think, Fresno. But the last one, I needed a triple in 10th to tie the match. And after I threw the triple, I just shook all over. It just, a chance to win, and it just drained me completely. I know how he feels. He's tired mentally, physically, and it could be a strain, and it could work with him or against him.
So Marshall actually had a hand in you winning your 3 straight titles.
Yes, he had.
Mark, how come we haven't seen you very much on the tour?
Well, I spent most of the summer home. I just got tired, and I'm starting a business at home and refinishing pins. We're trying to look into a bowling center right now, and I just figured I needed a break. I bowled a lot this winter in a row. I bowled 8 weeks in a row, and normally I bowl like 3 or 4, take a week off. And I was just tired, and I figured let me get away and relax.
Last time we saw you in the winner's circle was in Limerick, Pennsylvania last year in the Regional Champions Classic, and you were having some physical problems. What's the situation with that now?
My hand's fine, and my wrist is really well. I'm throwing the ball good this week, and right now there's no physical problems.
So going into tonight's TV finals, you feel like you can beat anybody?
Yeah, why not? If I throw the ball, if I make good shots, I could feel like I could beat anybody.
All right, I need a sports update from you, Mark. Who's playing well in New York, and can the Yankees win the title in the AL East?
Well, they're playing well, but they need some timely hitting, I'd say.
Yeah.
That's what everybody needs, good pitching and timely hitting.
Timely hitting is exactly what Mark Roth will need here. Interestingly enough, he needed a triple in the 10th to win that third title in a row. The week after that, he lost by 2 pins in his effort to win his 4th straight title.
And he left a solid 10 pin in the first ball in the 10th frame, or he would have won that 4th title very easily. That was not a televised one, so it was just over at the end of 42 games there. Another interesting thing here is Marshall Holman has a urethane ball out there, and he has a plastic ball out there. And he has 4 practice balls. He threw 2 with the urethane ball and 2 with the plastic ball, and he's decided to go with the plastic ball. The reason is that the plastic ball hooks less than the urethane ball. You see that hammer on there? That is the trademark of that particular urethane bowling ball right there. It hooks more than the plastic ball. And the lanes seem to be breaking down right now, hooking early. Marshall has opted to go with the plastic ball to try and keep the ball in the pocket, and right away he wants a re-rack.
Didn't take long.
In fact, I think he took 1 already, and this is his 2nd one already.
See, Marshall's wearing 1 pin on his chest. That is from the Aquafest Mr. Gaddy's Open in Austin, Texas. He won that. Here's the re-rack. On his lapel, he's wearing a buffalo, which is the emblem of the city of Buffalo's campaign. We're talking proud. If he wins a few more, he's going to look like an explorer scout.
He won't be able to get up the line. He'll have so many things on him, right?
All right, here we go. Game 2.
I think the crowd is definitely back of Marshall in this particular situation. Boy, definitely. And wipes out that 10 pin right away. And we see the familiar Grinch teeth. The familiar style of Marshall Holman. Bent over, 5 quick steps, steady head, long slide, good follow through, tremendous lift.
Now it's important to Roth's confidence to strike well here.
He's got to start out well. And can't start out any better than that.
He's back in the pocket.
Interesting, these 2 guys have bowled doubles together for the last 4 or 5 years, and they won the doubles one time together. They're good friends, and here they are. Mark Roth is trying to stop his good friend from winning 3 tournaments in a row. But he wants to win also. He hasn't won in over a year, or just about a year.
Mark Roth, high game this tournament, 278. Low game, 156.
Mark Roth, on the other hand, is using the urethane bowling ball. Right there, 4 pin. Good shot. Tremendous lift and loft on that shot. Kind of just drilled that to the pocket.
Hey, the crowd's pretty pumped up for this one.
They really are. This is a great match. You got your 2nd all-time leading money winner on PBA history, bowling the 3rd time. And both of them, the oldest guy is 32, you know, so it's amazing. These 2 tremendous players right here.
Roth is 32, Holman 28.
I'm almost older than both of them put together.
No. Roth marks in the 2nd frame. It's the first time since the Denver stop on the PBA Tour and the Winter Tour that all 5 of the TV finalists were holders of a PBA title. Between these 2, we have 43 titles. 16 for Holman, 27 for Roth.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
If we had Anthony on the show, you could really count him up.
Yep.
Marshall wants to get out to an early lead. Can double the 10-pin lead. A little high, does not break it up. 4, 6, 7. Just a little short with that shot, and the ball just hooked a little early. No break of breaking up the split.
It's not the split you have nightmares about most often, but it's up there.
Well, you just, it's one of the impossible splits. He doesn't take any time, fires at it, hopes it bounces out, which it doesn't. He's 19-28. He's immediately 12 pins behind.
These lanes are giving the bowlers problems.
They certainly are. They're not easy at this point. The scores are low, but they're competitive. Our last match came right down to the 10th frame.
Holman trails by 12 pins.
See how he puts that rosin on the ball, wipes it off with a towel. A lot of times he'll put the ball down after that, and that piece of tape he has on his index finger is because he gets a callus on that finger. Very little time. Gives this one more room, and it's not going to make it back. And breaks up the 2-8-10, leaves only the 2-pin. A good break for him. That would have really put him in a hole with 2 opens and 3 frames. This is what went through with Marshall many, many times in that bad string he had. Now he's switching to the urethane bowling ball. Maybe he's given up on the plastic ball right away. He's doing a little practicing here, seeing if he can figure out the pocket with this ball by shooting the 2-pin. And I think that the next time we see Marshall, we're going to see him playing a different bowling ball. Marshall likes to swing the ball. Maybe he figures he can get more swing with that urethane bowling ball.
They could do a study on calluses by using Mark Roth's right hand. He's got a callus the size of a golf ball.
Way out on the lane. 4-7 solid. He's talking to himself right now. What do I got to do, he says.
Starting to get lonely out there.
The ball's a little tight. Again, he's in close to the 3rd arrow. Watch the 2-pin, Alan. It'll go right over the 4-7. Boom. Right around it. Too much power. Those pins are no match for it. Keeps the match within 10 pins. At the 4-7. Has the spare easily. Roth stays clean.
It's a 10-pin lead. And here's how it looks.
You can see the difference there. Holman 28 in the 2nd with a spare in the 3rd. Roth 38 also with a spare in the 3rd. Roth going to the left lane, lane 47 here at Thruway Lanes.
Which is right near the New York State Thruway, appropriately enough.
And trips the 4-pin out of there this time. Every shot virtually the same. Got the 4-pin out of there this time. And the sweep does not get that pin out of there. As we see Roth throw the ball. He doesn't know whether it's going to hold or not. He's watching. And all right.
He waited till it was sure.
Till the last second, right. And that 4-pin that he tripped, the sweep on the machine didn't sweep it back, and so it's in the right-hand channel right now, and Marshall's waiting until one of the mechanics in the back will use a pole to get it out of the way, and so nothing's distracting from his concentration. And sure enough, as I predicted, Marshall has switched back now to the urethane ball. He needs to move further inside, and this ball's going to hook more than the plastic ball. In closer to the 4th arrow, and doesn't make it up. So he made the adjustment, but it was a guess at best. It was an educated guess at best, and the ball didn't quite make it back. Leaves the 2-8, a very difficult spare. Marshall trying to win 3 in a row, and he can't find the pocket. Wipes that rosin off the ball. Needs to make this spare badly. Puts those fingers in. He'll tuck that little finger there at the last second. Takes very little time. And makes it. He thought it might hook by it. He just listened. He didn't even want to watch. He heard it. He could tell from the sound that he had made the spare. You know, one of the biggest educations I ever had in bowling was in 1967. I made the championship round, and Carmen Salvino was on the same show. As we see the scoreboard, and the difference of 12 pins with Roth having a strike in the 4th and Holman a spare. And Carmen lost in one of the early matches, and he came back and he was laying down in the settee area where he couldn't see the pins of the bowlers bowling, and he called every leave from sound. He could tell whether it was a 4-pin or a 2-4-5 simply from the sound. Solid 8. And Marshall says, oh, the frames are running out. But he's in the pocket anyway. At least he got that ball into the pocket. 65 in the 4th. If he makes this, he have a spare in the 5th. Roth is definitely in the driver's seat.
Well, when you make the TV finals, you only get 10 frames to find the pocket.
Makes the 8-pin.
And that brings us to the midway point of Game 2 between these two giants of the PBA Tour, Marshall Holman and Mark Roth. And right now it is Mark Roth with a 13-pin lead. We're coming to you from Thruway Lanes in Cheektowaga, New York, and we'll be right back.
BA
80s, the decade of physical fitness, and suddenly sore muscle relief enters a new era with Sports Cream, a different kind of pain-relieving rub. Unlike other rubs, Sports Cream doesn't feel hot going on because it penetrates for deep relief without heat. Unlike other rubs, Sports Cream smells light and clean because it doesn't need strong liniment odor to work. Sports Cream, fast, effective relief for sore muscles without heat or odor. It's the pain reliever of the 80s.
We are USA 1. Taking charge by unleashing a Chevrolet the competition can't touch. Camaro. Flat outselling every other 2+2 sports coupe on the road today. And now Camaro is led by a new standard 5-speed 5-liter Z28. The hot-selling Chevy Camaro. It still leaves everything but its shadow behind. USA 1 is taking charge.
Olympic Stain. We've got the inside on outside protection. Inside every can of Olympic Stain with weather screen are specially treated oils and additives that actually repel water and preserve wood. Inside every can is the experience of over half a century. That's why Olympic protects the outside of more homes than any other stain. Olympic Stain. We've got the inside on outside protection.
After you win a tough race, you want to take it easy, but you don't want to slow down.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's all yours and it's all mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. The rich, smooth taste of Miller beer is what you have in mind. So welcome to Miller Time.
Welcome to the rich, smooth taste of Miller High Life.
Al Troutwig back at Thruway Lanes, seated next to a PBA bowler, Mike Durbin. Of course, I am not. And seated next to Mike is Art Trask, who's helping us keep the numbers right here. Now, Art's a PBA bowler, too, and they're both sitting here telling me, hey, we're only as good as the lane maintenance people.
That's an inside secret. You're not supposed to reveal that. As he goes Brooklyn and leaves the 5-pin. Right now, the lanes are definitely not on the easy side, and the bowlers are definitely having a lot of trouble adjusting. Mark has just left it. We'll see where this ball hits. Hits about board 17 and breaks right now, and it almost had a runaway Brooklyn. Has an easy spare. He can practice a little bit on this spare.
The bowler is as picky about the lane conditions as a skater is about his skates.
And he did practice. He moved a little deeper, and that ball skated on him. Skated, yes. And converts the 5-pin. No.
Don't start on me now.
13 pins, Mark Ross ahead. He's filling the frames. Sometimes this is what we call right now a grind out condition, and he's doing what's necessary as he takes another re-rack on lane 47. He's filling the frames. He's keeping the ball in the fairway, so to speak, although that last shot kind of got in the left-hand rough, but he got away with it.
Becoming very poetic in this game, aren't you?
Way out on the lane. Comes in light and gets that wall shot. Keeps the lead at 13 pins. Keeps the lead. Straight swing of Roth. Lots of loft. Watch the head pin go to the wall, come back and clean out everything. 4-pin, the last to fall. Marshall Holman's got to turn the motor on and get things going. He was light on this lane. The last frame and the 4th frame, we'll see what kind of an adjustment he makes. Weak 10, good shot. The pins are just not cooperating. And again, he's got 4 frames left, and he's falling further behind with every frame. See the disappointment as he watches this go down and says, will you carry? Oh. He knows it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher.
I watched Marshall dip his hand into his right pocket. I wonder whether he was getting a little touch on that rabbit's foot.
And he almost missed the 10-pin. He says, no, never a doubt. Not worried about it.
He's got a pocket full of good luck charms in there.
Well, you can have all the good luck charms you want, but you still got to knock down the pins. And right now, he's got 84 in the 5th with a spare in the 6th versus 98 and a strike up, 14 pins. And Roth got the opportunity to double. Marshall's had 1 strike and hasn't had a strike since the 1st frame.
What we're seeing is how difficult it is to win three PBA titles in a row.
It's just so tough against the competition out here. You've got to have the breaks going for you. Right now, today, they aren't going for him so far, but it could turn around. Breaks up the split, leaves the 6-10, and he puts his hand in his pocket. My wife always tells me when I do that, she knows that I'm down. When that hand goes in the pocket right away, that I'm down. Takes the plastic ball out to shoot, cross lane at the 6-10. And barely gets it. 16 pins down. Right now, he has to hope that Roth stumbles.
And how about this? In 7 frames of bowling, Marshall Holman has a strike, an open frame, and 5 spares.
A little different than last week when he had 290 the final game.
Holman up by 16, trailing by 16. Here's Roth in the 7th.
Roth can really put him away now. This is the place where he really wants to jump on it. And he almost left the solid 9 and fell at the last second. Mark Roth's definitely in the driver's seat right now. 26 pins ahead. Can increase it to 36 with a double or a triple. He watches this. Now watch him. He thinks the 9 pin's going to stand out. Then it falls. He's all ready to be mad, and then he's happy. I know the feeling. Another re-rack he took on lane 47. I think that's his allotted 3 for the game.
There's something wrong over there.
Well, what'll happen? It could be just a little thing that the 3 pin could be just a little bit in, and the bowler thinks that he's going to leave a solid 10 if he hits solid in the pocket. There's that wall shot. Really has put the putty to him. 36 pins ahead. And Mark knows this is in the pocket. Running to the right. Smacks those hands. We saw Marshall Holman doing a lot of that last week and seen very little of it this week. You can't smack your hands on spares. You got to start getting strikes. And he's in the must strike situation. Absolutely must strike. He does, finally. Marshall's a champion. He wants to go down fighting. If he's going to lose, go down fighting. He's still potential 212 if he can strike out. Right now, Mark Roth is going at a 218 pace. All Marshall can do is say, hey, get all I can get and see what he does. But he must strike on this ball. If he wants to win 3 tournaments in a row, he has to strike on this ball. Roth's just fiddling with his rosin bag, sitting there, not paying too much attention. Again, all these bowlers know how to keep score. Little light, doesn't make it. Is it going to get a break? Almost. Well, that's it. Marshall Holman is not going to win 3 tournaments in a row. Shoots the 2-pin. And he gave it a valiant effort. It just was not to be today.
And Mark Roth working on a triple in the 9th.
Right now, the best Holman can do is 192 if he strikes out in the 10th frame. Roth just basically needs to show up the next 2 frames, keep the ball in the lane. And I think that somebody talked in the middle of his approach, or somebody moved, and Mark was visibly upset. Leaves the 2-5, which is a relatively easy spare. He is really upset at this point. He is angry. Mark always seems to have kind of a scowl on his face, but right there, somebody says something to someone. Someone talked in the middle of his approach, and he's really upset.
Wasn't us.
Hopefully it wasn't us. No, he'd have looked at us. Whoever it was, he'd looked at him. Right now, though, he needs to forget that and get the spare. He switches to a plastic ball to shoot the spare. He chopped it with the other ball and makes it.
Luckily for whoever it was who spoke, the match was almost out of reach at that point.
There we see Jackie. Doesn't really look like she's really into it, does she?
She saves her emotions perhaps for the championship games, of which she has seen Mark win 27. But frustratingly for him, he has not won one of the 4 major PBA titles.
Our scorekeeper, Artress, says that he needs 7 pins. He gets a strike. That's it. Mark going to be the winner.
Those 4 major titles: the Firestone Tournament of Champions, the Masters, the U.S. Open,
and the PBA National.
Holman decided at the last minute to come to Buffalo last week on the air. He said, yeah, I'm coming. Then he said, no, I'm not. Then he said, yes, I am. And finally he showed up.
Well, he had to come here to try and make it. Roth seems to have found it now. Strikes out here for 226 if he gets one more.
Well, he'll feel a lot better after this game than he did after the first game, I'm sure.
Well, he's got the momentum going now. He's going against another very hot bowler on the PBA Tour, Tom Milton, now. With Holman out of the way, Milton now can really jump into that Bowler of the Year race if he can win 2 matches. But right now, Ross seems to have put it all together, and he's going to be tough to beat. 226. And great sportsmanship there. Marshall grabbed his hand and gave Mark a hug, and they remained friends even though he was trying to beat his brains out. Marshall just never could find the pocket. The lanes were just difficult.
Marshall will win $4,500 for his 4th place finish.
Worth the trip coming up here?
I would say so.
Right. That puts him over $93,000 for the year. And he still has an excellent chance to go over $100,000 for the 3rd time in his PBA career.
Marshall's had a fabulous 1983. In the 23 tournaments this year, he has only missed cashing 3 times. In other words, he has won some money in 20 of those 23 appearances.
That is remarkable out here. Just very difficult to do. Makes the 2-5, finishes with 182, and tried for 3 in a row but couldn't do it.
And Tom Milton is waiting to face Mark Roth when we return to Thruway Lanes in Cheektowaga after this.
Playboy. It brings you the best of everything. Behind the pages of Playboy, you'll find the authors who create the best sellers.
Do you think you've had a fear of success?
Interviewers who reveal the person behind the personality.
But I don't anymore.
Award-winning sports analysts and forecasters who give you an up-close look at the teams, the players, and all the action. Playboy's cartoonists point out the humor in today's world with a rare mix of art and wit. And then there's Playboy's photographers, masters at capturing the sensuous beauty of the world's most breathtaking women.
Lift the shoulder just slightly. Good.
Playboy also tips you off to the latest styles, tunes you into the hottest sounds, and stirs your spirit of adventure with exciting new ideas. Informative, entertaining, and provocative. Playboy, the one magazine that gives you a monthly ticket to the best of the good life. And right now, you can get 12 months of Playboy delivered right to you for only $18.50. That's half the newsstand price. So enjoy the very best, the wit, wisdom, and imagination of today's most creative people. Become a Playboy subscriber and step into the exciting world of Playboy. To order your subscription, here's all you do.
Just phone toll-free, 1-800-USA-1000. Call now and get 12 issues of Playboy for only $18.50. Save $18.50 off the $37 newsstand price. So act now. Phone toll-free, 1-800-USA-1000. That's toll-free, 1-800-USA-1000.
You're watching the PBA Summer Tour on USA Network Coast to Coast. Al Troutwig along with Mike Durbin as we're coming to you from Buffalo, New York, more specifically Cheektowaga. And we take a moment now to update you on some of the things that happened here in Buffalo at the Buffalo Open and at the PBA Tour in general. First of all, bowlers 6 through 24. They bowled well, but not good enough to make the TV finals.
Finishing 6th is our friend and statistician Mark Williams, who lost out in the final game last night. 7th went to Mark Baker. 8th to local favorite here, Tom Baker. Jeff Bellinger, friend of Tom Milton, who's on the show today, finished 9th. Walter Ray Williams was in 10th. Butch Soper in his 2nd consecutive finals finished 11th. Art Trask, our statistician today, 12th. Storm DeVincent, 13th. Breaking a slump, Tom Hudson finished 14th. Darrell Bauer, 15th. Alvin Liu, making his 6th finals in the last 7 tournaments, finished 16th. Jim Miller, 17th, with Roger Haskell in 18th. Mike Steinbeck in 19th place. Dave Tulick finished 20th. Tom Laskow, 21st. John Chercourt finished 22nd. Local favorite here, Mike Fiedler, finished 23rd, and Steve Martin held up all the rest in 24th place.
And as far as the top 5 bowlers are concerned, they are bowling for prize money in the following amounts. The 5th place bowler, the one who loses the first game, Steve Fair or Mark Roth, will win $4,000. $4,500 to the bowler who finishes 4th. 3rd place, $5,500. 2nd place, $7,500. And then the big jump to the 1st place check of $13,000. 6 rounds here. A lot of different leaders.
Right, our leaders round by round. The first was led by Sam Zurich. The 2nd round, Walter Ray Williams came up there. Then Sam took over again in the 3rd round and 4th. Mark Williams, who wound up finishing 6th, was the leader after 5 rounds, and Sam Zurich again was the leader after 6.
Now, Mike, last week you dazzled us with your bowling skill, of which you have a lot. Mike Durbin tries to do it again with his bowling tip for this week. Mike?
Today we're going to talk about one of the most difficult spares in the sport of bowling. That is the washout. What we're looking at right now is the 1-2-4-10. There are many other variations of the washout. There's the 1-2-4-8-10, the 1-2-10, even the 1-10, and of course your left-handed combinations such as the 1-3-6-7. They all fall under the category of the washout. Unofficially, I guess a washout would be defined as a split with a head pin standing, but officially it's not a split because anytime the head pin is standing, it is not a split. However, we're really not interested in all that. We're interested in how to convert it. And what I'm going to show you today is just one of the many methods there are to shoot the washout. This is right along the same method that we looked at last week to make the 2-4-5. Remember last week we talked about using our strike target, moving 4 boards to the right, and throwing the ball over the strike target to make the 2-4-5? Well, we're going to again use our strike target for the washout, only we're going to move 5 boards to the right. Now we'll set up a hypothetical situation. Here we are. Let's suppose I'm standing right here for a strike on board 16. And I'm aiming for the 2nd arrow out there to get a strike, and I leave the washout. Now I want to move 5 boards to the right, all the way over here to board 11, and use that same 2nd arrow out there as my target to make the washout. I'm going to try and do it for you right now. I get the ball. I was standing on board 16. I moved the 5 boards all the way over to board 11. Set myself up here. I'm going to try and make the washout now, and hopefully I can make it. All right, I made the washout that time. But what can happen when I hit it on the left side of the head pin like that is sometimes I can wrap that head pin right around the 10 pin. It's just one of the many bad breaks that happen in the sport of bowling. The important thing to remember is to move 5 boards to your right, use that strike target, and you're going to make your share of the washouts. We'll see you again next week. Some of our upcoming events. This week we were in Cheektowaga, New York, and next week we're going to head right out of the country to Windsor, Ontario for the Molson Bowling Challenge. Then we'll head on to Waukegan, Illinois for the Waukegan Open and wind up the summer tour in Canton, Ohio with a real fun event, the PBA Seniors Championship.
As Mike said, we're in Cheektowaga, New York with the Buffalo Open. I guess just living here makes everybody that lives here a better speller. At least I hope they are, because that's a tough one to spell for sure. We'll get back to bowling with the PBA on USA in just a moment.
It's one of my bigger days. Let me buy a beer. Sure. These fans, I love them. When I came in, they didn't recognize me at first, but then when I told them who I was, next thing you know, they're buying me my favorite beer, light beer from Miller. They know us ex-big leaguers drink light because it's got a third less calories than their regular beer. It's less filling, and it tastes great. Thanks.
Hey, it's a pleasure to buy a beer for a great pitcher like Whitey Ford.
Hey, so I lied.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Hey, Whitey, I thought you were a lefty.
Oh, that's right.
In our world of endless imagination, anything can happen. And those of you who wear Levi's jeans know what I'm talking about. Because anywhere our minds can go, we can follow too. Go ahead, chase a dream. In Levi's jeans.
Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge. With Chevy S10 Maxi Cab, there's never been an extended cab pickup like it before. You can't even get one in a Ford Ranger or Toyota. Taking charge of people space, Maxi Cab with available rear jump seats has behind-the-seat room Datsun King Cab can't match. Taking charge with up to 40% more cab load space than Datsun King Cab. Now choose 10.9% financing or $300 cash back on new 83 S10 pickups and Maxi Cabs. Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge.
In the beginning, man's feet walked free, but the road to civilization was paved, so man developed shoes. Soon after that, man developed athlete's foot. Egad! Now at last there's Mycotin. Mycotin cures athlete's foot. It's the only athlete's foot medicine you can buy with myconazole, an ingredient available for the first time without a doctor's prescription. Mycotin in spray, powder, or cream. Mycotin, the end of the road for athlete's foot.
And Mark Roth, the 32-year-old veteran on the left side of your screen, moves into another hot seat, bowling against Tom Milton, who's 27 years old, from St. Petersburg, Florida. He's won 3 titles this year, and a victory here in Buffalo would slide him right up next to Earl Anthony for Bowler of the Year honors. And consideration for it.
Right. He's got a formidable task in front of him. Mark Roth seems to have found the lanes. Plus, Roth was the one who defeated Tom Milton last year in Limerick when Roth won his last PBA title. He defeated Tom Milton for the title that day, so maybe he has a psychological edge over Tom Milton. Roth starts it off. Didn't get the ball as far out of the lane, and it hooked too soon. Leaves only the 6-pin, breaks up the split. Mark is filling the frames here, and that's the important thing. Keep it clean.
Well, the big story in bowling for the past 2 weeks has been the story of Marshall Holman. Having bowled a 182, he has ended the story himself.
Well, couldn't go on forever. It had to end sometime.
No, but boy, did he have a great streak.
So Tom Milton, as Roth makes the 6-pin, the viewers out there are going to see a tall bowler, one who throws an enormous hook, throws slow speed, but he gets a tremendous hook on the back end of that ball.
If anybody can put the ball in the channel and make it hop out and strike,
Tom Milton could do it, right?
Now, he's not going skin diving after the game. He's got a little piece of wetsuit on his elbow to keep that pinched nerve in his right elbow warm.
Gives it room. There it comes. Good shot. Leaves only the 4-pin. Started that ball off close to the 4th arrow, and it must have got out about the 8th board down the lane.
It gets about 5 feet in front of the pack and makes
See
a left turn.
How tall he stands. 5 steps, ball right in time. Good knee bend. Good lift. Tremendous hook. Very smooth. He's very cool under pressure, too. Very square game. Just amazes me, though, how much that ball hooks at the back end. That one didn't hook nearly as much as we've seen some of them.
Tom Milton has won 3 PBA titles, all of them this year.
And he's asking for a re-rack on lane 47. It seems that if there's one thing all the bowlers are agreed about out there is that they don't like the rack on lane 47.
Last year we saw Tom Milton in the PBA Regionals Classic in Limerick, Pennsylvania, where he lost to Mark Roth. This year he doesn't have to face him.
Well, he's facing him right now.
Right. I mean in the championship game.
You see how Tom cups that wrist. See how it's cupped underneath that ball? He keeps it that way all the way through the approach and even in the release. Puts tremendous side roll on that ball, and here it comes. Leaves only the 2-pin. The left lane appears to be a bit tighter than the right lane. The ball didn't quite make it back. Tom has kind of a frown or scowl on his face there. So he picks up a different ball to shoot the spare with, green one. Easy spare here. And he makes it easily. 19 in the first. 1 pin behind as Ross steps up into the second frame.
Mark averaged a 218 on the TV pair this week. A little over 2 pins better than his overall average.
Gets it out there. Solid 8. Oh. Woo. We saw Holman leave one of those last game. And they could take the wind out of your sails in a hurry. Makes a great shot here. 6 steps, well out over the foul line. Ball about the 16th board. And the ball will chop the 5 straight back. See it take that 5 straight back off the 8 there. It's amazing. It's always a shock when we leave it.
I'm waiting for someone to get on a roll, and it doesn't look as though the lanes are going to let anybody get going.
Well, Rolf is grinding him out and winning matches. That's the important thing to him. He doesn't care whether he does it with 180s or 280s. And he wants a re-rack on the left lane. Kind of shakes his head, says, another one.
Mark's been a PBA member for 13 years.
Made a lot of money in 13 years.
Certainly did.
A lot of money. Won a lot of tournaments. Wants another one.
He has a pin refinishing business, Mike. What exactly is that?
Well, that's where you repair pins that have been used in a bowling center, and the proprietor wants to keep them, and it's less expensive to repair them than it is to go out and buy new pins. Yes, I understand Mark's very interested in it, and as we see Jackie again looking on, has really gotten into the expertise of it and the selling aspect of it. And now he's beginning to run him out, a la Marshall Holder. Solid 8 and then solid back in the pocket for a strike. Difference between this one and the first frame is the loft on the ball. Well out over the foul line. It goes further down the lane, breaks later, and watch the 6 get that 10. Nudges that 10 right straight over across.
Mark Ross' thumb ever gets stuck, he's going right down to the pins. Here's Tom Milton, even in the third frame.
Way out there, here it comes.
That looks like it was in slow motion.
3, 4, 6. Starts it out about the 20th board, out to maybe the 7th board. Now it makes a left-hand turn, chops right through there. Almost had the 7 pin with it. I saw him leave it 3 out of 4 frames in one game this week. And he made it once. And, oh, I thought he had it. He nicked that pin. It looked like it wiggled. As I watched him do that in the qualifying round or in the finals, I was thinking to myself, you know, he left that same thing 3 out of 4 frames, and I was thinking that I haven't left it in my entire PBA career. As we see the scoreboard, he has 45 in the third with a split, and Roth 39 in the second. Roth's up by 14 points right at this point. The 2-4-8, and Milton is just lost. Again, the lanes are very tough today, and everybody has been having trouble. Even Roth in that first game. Tries to give this one room. The left lane tighter. See, it starts in around the 20th board, goes all the way up maybe to the 5th or 6th board, and just can't make it back. That's a lot of boards to cover on a bowling lane. And try and put the ball in the pocket. Makes the spare. Difficult spare. Makes it easily. Roth up 14 pins. Can increase it to 24 if he can double here on the right lane. And Mark is an opportunist. He knows when his opponent is struggling. He has that ability to be able to just jump on him. It's that called a killer instinct, and he definitely has it. Doesn't get the break off the wall. Keeps Milton in the match. But right now, Tom looks like he's lost, and Roth has got the pocket on both lanes. It's just a matter of whether Mark can carry. I don't know whether Milton is going to change balls or what he's going to do. Cross lane at the 7-pin. Very little hook. Had it measured just right, didn't he? He shakes his head, says, never a doubt. I wasn't worried, he says.
And the full house here at Thruway Lanes, oohing and eyeing through that shot. They began arriving here 3 hours before the championship round began. Some diehard fans here. 17th year the PBA has been in Buffalo.
Right. I believe it was last year that Tom Baker made the show here, and the fans were really in a state of euphoria there.
Tom Milton with that open in the third. He'd like to have that back.
Way out of the lane. Light. 2-4-5.
That one never grabbed at all.
He just didn't get his thumb out of that ball clean. He gets the ball way out of the lane, and sometimes when he does that, the thumb doesn't exit clean. When we let a bowling ball go, the thumb has to come out first and the fingers lifted second. And Roth just never got the lift on that ball that he was looking for. Now he's using the same ball to shoot the 2-4-5. In the 9th frame of the last game, he switched balls. Straightens it out. He has that ability at those spares to be able to throw hard and straight. Makes the spare. He has 76 in the 4th frame.
And that translates into an 11-pin lead for Mark Roth. And we'll continue. The winner of this will go on to the championship match at the $100,000 Buffalo Open. We'll be back in a moment.
We are USA 1, and proving it in Chevy Cavalier. Cavalier's high compression 2-liter engine with electronic fuel injection gives you more power than the 3 leading imports. And even though Cavalier sedan is shorter outside than Honda Accord sedan, it gives you 6 cubic feet more passenger room inside, plus more room in the trunk. Chevy Cavalier, from America's sales leader. USA 1 is taking charge.
Summer with the Boys of Summer on the USA Network's exclusive Thursday Night Baseball.
Ask the independent investors you know the name of the largest discount stockbroker in America, and they'll tell you Charles Schwab and Company. Over 50 offices and more customers than any other discount broker. Ask the independent investors why Charles Schwab and Company is the largest, and they'll tell you up to 76% discount on commissions when you buy or sell securities. Place your orders from anywhere in the country 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Computer technology that speeds order entry and executions. Accounts protected up to $2.5 million. Low interest rates when you borrow on your marginable securities, and no salesperson will call ever. Charles Schwab. The largest for very good reason. Ask the independent investors, and they'll tell you. Go with America's #1 discount stockbroker, Charles Schwab.
For your free information kit and discount rate schedule, call this toll-free number now, 800-228-6606. That's 800-228-6606.
There must be a solution to lanes 47 and 48 here at Thruway Lanes. Tom Milton and Mark Roth wondering who may find the answer first.
Well, again, Roth's doing what has to be done. He's filling the frames. He's bowling clean games and getting enough strikes to come out winners.
Milton down by 11 pins in the 5th.
And he had disastrous lead on this lane the last time. And that ball actually rolled out at the pocket. When a bowling ball starts going left, it's gathering momentum, and sometimes it uses it all up, and it actually rolled out and went straight. We're going to be able to get a good view of this as he throws it a little deeper. Now watch the ball quit right at the end. It's turning left now, and it actually goes straight right at that point at the end. Sure made a left-hand turn before it went straight, though, I'll tell you. And there we see 76 to 65, 11-pin difference, and he wants a re-rack on this left lane. If he can double here, he can cut it to 1 pin.
Mike, any idea how much the ball moves right and left as it goes through the stack?
You mean as it goes through?
Yeah,
the
as
pins?
the ball goes through and it hits the pins, you can see it move just a little to the right, then a little to the left. Any idea how much it moves as it goes through?
Well, actually, the ball only hits 4 pins as it's going through, Alan. It hits the 1, 3, the 5, and the 9. That's the only 4 pins that the bowling ball hits as it goes through the pins in the pit.
And then hopefully the chain reaction.
Right.
Milton in the 6th.
There's just a lot of room. And it hooked early. Boy, it's amazing. He threw that one really wide, and it still grabbed too soon. Leaves the 3-6. And Tom, I just think, doesn't know what to do. He's just getting such a violent reaction that it's either light or high. He can't put the ball in the 1-3 pocket. So as it's straight at the 3-6 and 2 straight, it goes right by and he misses the spare. And Mark Roth's just licking his chops right now. Tom here, much straighter wrist, not the lift and turn that he normally has, and it doesn't bite the lane, and it's gone. Goodbye. Switch balls to a harder ball.
Well, now the window's wide open again. Let's see if Mark Roth climbs on in.
23 pins ahead. In deep on this right lane. Carries attention this time. And Mark, with that familiar style, and just kind of sweeps him out. He turned around the other way. Says, you better fall.
We should point out that as Marshall Holman left center stage here at Thruway Lanes, he received a standing ovation from the folks here. They've been following his story all week long.
Can increase it to 33 with another one. And breaks up the split. Right now, Mark Roth, when he does make the mistakes, is breaking up the splits and getting spares, and that's the difference in the matches. He's throwing more balls in the pocket than anyone else, but he's also getting the breaks to be able to fill those frames on the bad shots. Shakes his head. He knew he could really put him away if he could double there.
Mike, you watch a lot of sports, and so do I, and there are certain sports where people from certain areas of the world or the country perform the sport in a specific way. I think people from the New York area or the Northeast perhaps bowl in a very aggressive way as compared to some of the bowlers from elsewhere in the country. You agree with me or not?
It does appear that way from some of the players we've seen, like Joe Berardi and Mark Roth, that they have these aggressive styles. A lot of them probably grow up on lanes that hooked quite a bit and they had to learn to throw hard at an early age.
Now Milton still down by a bunch.
23 pins right now. Hit this lane the last time. Here it comes. And he trips the 4 out of there. That ball actually again rolled out at the end and enabled that 2-pin to trip the 4 out. And he's got to figure out something on this left lane that he picked to finish on. You see the difference there. 116 to 93. 23 pins. And he's going to the 8th frame. Milton now is still potential 213 if he would strike all the way out. But he's got to try and get something together in this left lane. He hasn't hit the pocket on this left lane as Roth looks off at the score. Right now, it's not a matter of so much of who can string the strikes as who can fill the frames. Milton thought that ball was going to be in the pocket, and it still made a left turn, leaves the 4-pin. He moved a little deeper on the lane, and it still hooked too soon. So he grabs that green ball to shoot at the spare. And there's a pin in the right-hand channel. He's asking the tournament director if he can go ahead and shoot the spare with that pin there. And Harry Golden gave him the okay. Converts the 4-pin, and he's running out of frames. The best he can get right now is 193. And Mark Roth is going at a 196 pace if he would strike spare the rest of the way out.
Once again, we have a pin laying in the channel. It's removed.
And once again, Roth is in the position to really be able to put his opponent away. And as Jackie looks on, she hasn't changed her expression, has she? And right there, pretty shot, pretty shot. Wants a re-rack on the left lane. Wants a re-rack on lane 47. Deep inside. Straight swing. Good slide. Way out on the lane, about the 17th board. Now watch the 6-pin here, Alan. Just snap that 10 right out. Again, remember when you see that happen with a bowler, you know that he had good lift on the ball. And then we see it, 136 to 113, 23 pins ahead. 9th frame action.
We saw Jackie, Mark's wife. She wears a necklace with 3 X's on it. It's a triple in the 10th.
There he is. And a 10-pin fall. Roth really getting into it now. Roth, is the 10-pin going to fall? Yes. Smacks those hands that we saw Marshall do. And right now, Tom Milton is faced with the unenviable task of having to strike out and hope that Roth opens. 4-pin, good shot, and it appears that it's not going to be either Tom Milton or Marshall Holman winning this tournament. Roth looking on and saying, can he defeat Sam Zurich to win his 28th PBA title? The best that Milton can do is 182 if he would strike out. All Mark Roth needs to do is show up for the 10th frame and stay behind the foul line, keep the ball in the lane, and he's going to win his 3rd match and go on to bowl for his 28th title. And finally, Tom hits that left lane when it doesn't matter. Interestingly enough, it was the lane he picked to finish on also. And this is the first time that he got a strike on it. Actually, the first time that he hit the pocket. He got close to the pocket in the 8th frame.
It's enough to drive you crazy when things don't work the way they worked in practice.
Well, he was having trouble toward the end of practice, too. It's just it looked like he was kind of lost. He was hitting him when he first came out, and then they seemed to break down, and he had more trouble. And again, just a little late. If he'd have put it together a little sooner, he could have, because he seemed to hit the right lane a couple of times anyway. Interestingly enough, in the match right now, Milton has 4 strikes and is going for his 5th, and Roth only has 4 strikes. The difference is spares.
And the open frame that Milton left in the 3rd. Right. And the 6th.
Finishes out with 182.
And a triple in the 10th. That's the score Marshall Holman had.
Well, when you get scores like that bowled against you, right now I don't think he's had over 182 bowled against him. It's not too hard to win. And breaks up the split one more time. Leaves only the 6-pin. It's enough to be a winner. Tom Milton saying an opportunity to win his 4th title of the year, go by the boards. Chance to really put him in the running for Bowler of the Year. Even though he still is in the running, he has more victories than anyone else this year on the PBA Tour.
Still lots of tournaments to come.
Mark, he strikes on the fill ball here, will wind up at 205, win by 23 pins. And another clean game. He had a clean game last game, clean game this game. He's filling those frames. .204.
So that's it. Mark Roth, 204. Tom Milton, 182. Standing by, Sam Zurich. Roth and Zurich will bowl 1 game for $13,000 when we come back on USA.
We are USA 1, taking charge with tough, easy-to-own transportation like Chevy Chevette. While Ford's 83 base Escort suggested retail price went up, the lowest price Chevy Chevette held the line. In fact, this 2-door Chevette is priced over $600 less than Escort L 2-door. And Chevette has millions more owner-driven miles behind it. Chevy Chevette, from America's sales leader. Now, choose 10.9% financing or $300 cash back on new 83 Chevy Chevettes.
In the beginning, man's feet walked free, but the road to civilization was paved, so man developed shoes. Soon after that, man developed athlete's foot. Now at last there's Mycotin. Mycotin cures athlete's foot. It's the only athlete's foot medicine you can buy with myconazole, an ingredient available for the first time without a doctor's prescription. Mycotin in spray, powder, or cream. Mycotin, the end of the road for athlete's foot.
Look, if you rip this expensive car seat, you'd have to mend it with tape. But when new car manufacturers mend rips on the assembly line, they look like this, good as new. Now, you can use the same fabulous process at home. New Minute Mender makes almost invisible repairs quickly, easily on vinyl and leather and fabric. Imagine, from this to this in minutes. Use Minute Mender on car seats, vinyl tops, furniture, luggage, boots, jackets, toys, rafts, briefcases, glass cases, and dozens of other things. Minute Mender, just $12.95 with an absolute money-back guarantee. Act now, and we'll include free this valuable fabric repair kit. Yours free with amazing Minute Mender. Don't wait. Call now for rush delivery. Here's how to order.
Call toll-free 1-800-USA-1000 in Georgia, 1-800-222-7272, or send $12.95 plus $3 shipping and handling to Minute Mender, Box 49648, Atlanta, Georgia, 30359, or call now.
26-year-old Sam Zurich from Huntington, New York, will bowl Mark Roth, who seems to have found the pocket now with 2 big wins in a row. It's the championship match at the $100,000 Buffalo Open. The winner to receive $13,000. They call Sam Zurich, Mike, Shortcut Sam. There will be no shortcuts, I don't think, at least in this match.
It's hard to find a shortcut around Roth, especially as he seems to be putting on a little bit of weight there. So.
Well, he watches a lot of hockey on USA, you know. It's tough not to snack when you watch hockey.
I know that. I'm having that same problem myself. So starts off with a weak 10, a pin rolling around, and a little short, a little soft.
That would have been one of the longest
those messenger pins. Yeah. Keeps it in the pocket again. Again, he's in the fairway. Waiting for the ball to get back. Again, he'll move left, hard and straight at the 10 pin. And see that pin bounce up? It would have made the 7-10.
Well, that's what he's been doing throughout this TV finals. He's been scrambling for par.
Well, those count just as well.
Now Sam Zurich. Rich is part of his name. He'll be $13,000 richer if he wins here.
Well, he's thinking more about the victory than he is the money. About the third arrow, the ball slides by. Less hook than Roth, leaves the 2-pin. Very sweet game that Sam Zurich has here. Every pin, 5-step, very short first step. Ball's right in time. Watch at the top of the 3rd step. Good slide. A little short on that slide. Good follow through. About the only thing I see there is that he looks just a hair crowded at the foul line. If he'd move back on the approach maybe 3 or 4 inches.
Sam has averaged 6 pins higher than Roth over the course of the week.
Uh-oh. Wow. Hooked right by. That's just the thing he did not want to happen, is to miss an easy spare to start out the match and put himself in a hole right away. The lanes are tough enough as it is.
You saw that coming right away, didn't you?
Well, he was a little short when he let it go, and I knew that ball was going to hook. And see, what that can do to you, Alan, is it upsets you mentally. I mean, you had a specific mindset, and then all of a sudden, your game plan, everything is blown in the first frame. You've got to reconnoiter and try and get your composure back together. It's hard to do. Pretty shot there. Boy, he did. Okay. That's the mark of a champion. You make a mistake like that, you put it behind you, and you come right back and make a good shot. See how smooth he is. Watch the swing. Now watch the follow through. Straight through. Watch this ball saw that 5 right into the 7. Just barely got it, but it was enough.
Well, you fall out of the saddle, you get right back on. Here's Roth.
Yeah, that's true. Good loft. Hooking early. And again, hits that nose, no split. Leaves the 6, 9, 10. And he's shaking his hand as though his hand or wrist is sore. He's left of target here, and the ball bites too soon. It's going to almost cross over to the Brooklyn side. And he comes back shaking his hand as though his thumb or his wrist did bother him. He had trouble with tendonitis in his wrist there for quite a while. And I don't know whether that's bothering him again right now or not. Straight at the 6-9-10. It chops it right off. Wow. That's one of the dangers of shooting a straight shot at that spare, is that it's possible to chop the 6 off the 9. It doesn't happen very often. I've done it because I throw straight all the time, and whack, you see him straighten that ball out, and it chops the 6 right off the 9.
It's a matter of millimeters.
But what it does is it puts Sam Zurich in the lead sitting on the bench. Back to the left lane. Light leaves the 2-5. Found out that I've been informed that Mark has a callus on the palm of his hand. He gets one right underneath his index finger, and that's bothering him some. That callus is
about the size of a silver dollar.
It seems like a lot of these power players get that particular callus in that particular spot. You can see that I don't have one there at all. So
soft touch Durbin.
Right. Straight at the 2-5. Makes it easily. Shaking his hand again. But right now, Zurich with a strike up. Again, this right lane appears to be hooking a little earlier than the left lane. Sammy's seen a mistake that he made, and then a mistake Roth made, and now he can really jump on him. Look at those eyes. Look at that target. Head very still. Right there. And gets the love tap on that 10. Big break right there. Gets that double.
Certainly contrasting styles between these two bowlers.
See, his speed is much softer than Ross. He strokes the ball much more. Same area of the lane. Now watch this 6-pin. Goes over and falls right on the 10. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, you got to take advantage. Now he's thinking in his mind right now is, I got a break there, take advantage of it. He's up 13 pins, can increase it to 23 if he can jump on that break. And light. Ball just would not make it back. Leaves the 2-8. He tried to help that one back and didn't get the lift at the bottom of that swing that he needed. Has a difficult spare now. Remember, he missed the 2-pin by itself in the first frame, and now he's got the 2-8, which is tougher. Don't think he's not thinking back to that first frame, too. A lot of times the bowlers don't practice spares for that hour of practice that they have ahead of time. He may not know exactly where to stand and where to aim to make the spare. It takes a lot of time. And he's in trouble. Yeah, missed that one too. Boy, no. Again, here we have it. You take it. No, I don't want it. Again, is what I said. He just did not know where to stand and where to aim. And the ball hooked too soon. And you have to hit that 2-pin on the right to make that spare. As the fans are trying to encourage Roth on. Roth takes the lead, sitting on the bench. It's going back and forth that way. A little high, and breaks up the split once again. The 6-10. Roth is getting his share of breaks today, I'll tell you. Right through the heart of the pins this goes, and you watch the left side collapse out at the last second. That 7-pin was standing and fell at the last second. Big break there.
All the tournaments we've covered, I don't remember seeing the bowlers as frustrated as they are tonight.
Well, you know, you got to take the bad with the good. And right now, they're not so easy. What we have, though, is a very competitive match. Zurich now is back in front by 1 pin as Roth got 8 on that ball, lost 2 pins in count. So right now, Roth is going at a 184 pace and Zurich at 185. And we've seen already in 4 frames, we've seen 3 missed spares total between the two bowlers. What it does is it gives the fans at home hope. They say, well, if these guys can miss them too, then I shouldn't feel so bad. So. And trips the 4-pin out of there. That's
shot was just a shade high, but Roth got him all down anyway. And it's a tight battle in the championship match of the Buffalo Open. We'll be back to Cheektowaga in just a moment.
I'll tell you, trying to get cultured isn't easy. We just went to the opera and we didn't understand a word.
Yeah, but that big guy in those tights sure could sing.
Well, at least we still drink a very civilized beer. Light beer from Miller. Light tastes great.
But us impresarios drink it because it's less filling.
We can't afford to get filled up. Tomorrow night, we're going to the ballet.
Yeah, I sure hope they do it in English.
Me too.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge with Chevy S10, the hottest selling new size pickup in America, with available V6 power, revolutionary Instatrack four-wheel drive, and up to twice as much towing capacity as any import pickup. Taking charge with much better V6 mileage estimates than Ranger. S10 pickup, maxi cab, and Blazer. Now choose 10.9% financing or $300 cash back on new 83 S10 pickups and maxi cabs. Tough Chevy trucks are taking charge.
In the beginning, man's feet walked free, but the road to civilization was paved, so man developed shoes. Soon after that, man developed athlete's foot.
Egad.
Now at last there's Mycotin. Mycotin cures athlete's foot. It's the only athlete's foot medicine you can buy with myconazole, an ingredient available for the first time without a doctor's prescription. Mycotin in spray, powder, or cream. Mycotin, the end of the road for athlete's foot.
USA hurls a pair of key National League contests your way on the next edition of Thursday Night Baseball. First, George Hendrick, Lonnie Smith, and the St. Louis Cardinals look to rise to the top once more when they battle the Houston Astros. Then it's on to San Francisco, where the Giants aim to tame triple threat Dawson, Oliver, Carter, and the Montreal Expos. A live twin bill that can't be missed on Thursday Night Baseball at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on USA. May not be seen in some areas.
The difference between Zurich and Roth is 1 pin. The difference between winning and losing is $5,500.
Sammy, whose best finish this year, was third in the Miami Open, bowling in the 5th frame on lane 48, where he got the love tap back in the 3rd frame. A little high, leaves the 4-7. Just a little tight. It's just that critical between coming in light and leaving that 10 and going high and leaving the 4, and then a little bigger mistake and you got company with him.
Zurich has won 2 titles, one of them a PBA title, doubles, and then a regional doubles title as well. He probably wishes he had somebody out there right now to talk to see what's going on out there.
Well, he won the doubles title with Nelson Burton Jr. And actually, Sam held the team up. He bowled better than Burton did all the way through. So he knows what it's like to win, but he doesn't know yet what it's like to win by himself.
I don't think he wasn't worried about that spare either.
And there we see the difference, 65 to 64. The only difference is that Roth has a strike in the 5th, with Zurich only has a spare working. As Sammy takes a re-rack on that left lane, again, the left lane giving the bowlers a lot of problem with the rack.
All the players grip their bowling ball a little bit different.
Sammy, you see, is right straight underneath the ball, thumb all the way in, the index finger kind of tapping the ball there. He stays right behind the ball all the way through and then has a nice turn around the ball. And leaves 3-6-10. Boy, he's lost. Goes from the 2-8 to 3-6-10 on that left lane. It's just tough. Every player has had trouble today. Our statistician, Art Trask, tells us that right now the opponents at Roth are averaging 180.2, where Roth is averaging 205 for his 3 games. So
it's a 25-pin difference.
And that's about what he's been winning the games by. Tough spare here. They're not getting any easier for Sam. He had the 2-pin was easy and he missed that. Then the 2-8 is tough. The 3-6-10 is tough also. And he makes the 3-6-10. Nice shot, cross lane. Roth has a 2-pin lead with a strike working. Mark has been high on this right lane twice, and he keeps shaking his hand as though he is visibly in pain from that callus on his right hand.
Well, he told me before we began tonight that it's not a problem for him.
Well, it could have split open while he's bowling. Moves a little deeper, and slides by. And, what a pin, I thought I might get off. There's the adjustment. He moved on the approach, moved a little deeper, and he's moving his hand back and forth. I move one way, and it doesn't come up. I move the other way, and it hooks instantly. And that's what he's saying to himself right now. He leaves the 2-5. Our statistician over here, Art Trask, said in the break, he says 160 may win this game, and it's entirely possible. Right now, these guys don't exactly have the pocket wired in. The 2-5, not an easy spare either. And, ooh, just hangs on to make it, 84-82. And this is one of those nerve-wracking ones that is so tough. This is tough on everybody. It's tough on the bowlers, the spectators. 84-82, both players working on spares. We got 4 frames to go.
Pretty soon, somebody's going to run down there and kick him down.
Oh, you can't do that or you'd lose pins from fouling. So.
Just think of how good it would feel, though.
Yes, well, a lot of players have been tempted, I'll tell you, over the years, including yours truly. On the left lane. Doesn't get the wall shot this time. Leaves the 7-pin. It's a 1-pin difference. He has an easy spare. Mark only got 1 double last game. Can't spit it out there. And he hasn't had any doubles yet this game. Has an easy spare here, though. Sammy just studying, trying to figure out what to do. All you can do at this point, Alan, is you tell yourself that the lanes are tough. Your opponent's having trouble as Roth makes the 7-pin. It's like I got 4 frames to go to win my second title. My first by myself, I've got to make 4 good passes at the ball. 4 good shots is all he can do. That's the best he can do.
How lucky he is to have started with an open and then followed it with another open 2 frames later and still be that close.
Very true. 1 pin behind. Needs a strike to save count. He changed lines and moved outside. Oh! Great shot, and that was a great adjustment. That takes tremendous courage to make a move like that in the middle of a game. He moved out closer to the second arrow away. Now watch this. See this ball go closer to the second arrow. Right over the second arrow, out about the 7th board there. Great shot. The 6 flies right around the 10. And in this particular bowling center, there weren't a lot of solid 10s left. Many centers you leave a lot of them. There weren't as many in this center. We leave them everywhere, but not as many here. Uh-oh. Takes it on the left. I was a little worried about that one. 2 pins with 3 frames to go. But he did what he had to do. He made the good pass at the ball, the good shot. There we see 103 to 101. He's going to the 8th frame on the left lane. Sam has picked a finish on this lane as he takes another re-rack on lane 47.
Must be a record for re-racks.
Well, we won't count. It just... Mark looking at the scoreboard, trying to figure out what to do on both lanes. Sam needs a strike to save the count, if for nothing else. And he moves out on this lane. Comes to the line and gets that wall shot. I'll tell you what, this boy's driving some tremendous moxie and courage in the middle of the game to change angles like that in a championship match. Again, he moved out on this lane, closer to the second arrow, and watch the head pin go to the wall and clean him out. Roth, though, is not changing. He's staying inside. He's coming in light. And we got a 1-pin match again. 122 to 121. Roth has 122 in the 7th frame, and assuming he makes this spare, which is, maybe I shouldn't do that because we saw Sam miss the 2-pin earlier. I bet Sam, Surge looking down, not even thinking about what Roth's doing, trying to concentrate on his own game. Roth makes the 2-pin. Roth going to the 9th frame. If he strikes in the 9th, he's still potential 202. So we see the difference there.
It's not
122 to 121. It doesn't matter whether it's 220 or 120 right now. The difference is it's 1-pin match.
I was going to say it's not beautiful, but it sure is interesting.
Roth needs this strike now. Again, to save count and maintain his 1-pin lead. He's light. And he gives the lead to Zurich sitting on the bench. The 245, he gets 7. It gives him 139 in the 8th frame. He drops behind by 2 pins. Zurich's fate is going to be in his own hands, and Sammy knows it. Suddenly when that happens to you, you know, there's a surge that goes within you and says, boy, I've got to take the bull by the horns here and do it myself. Mark shoots the 2-4-5 and makes it on the left. Right now, Roth's potential is 189. Zurich's potential is 211 if he would strike all the way out. Sam is up by 2 pins, and he made that move closer to the second arrow in the 6th frame here, or in the 7th frame on this lane, and he left a solid 10. Gives it room. Here it comes. Great shot. Tremendous. Puts him up by 12 pins. Sam lets it go, throws his best shot of the match here. See that follow through? And he knows it. The situation, Alan, going into the 10th frame is he wants another re-rep. Is Sam needs 9 spare strike to lock out Mark Roth. A strike will do it if he stays behind the foul line on the next shot. If he would get 9 on the first ball, a spare and a strike, he'd lock him out. 9 spare 9, we'd have potential tie.
Another re-rack.
Roth looking on, he knows the score. Sam right now is thinking, make the best shot you can. One good shot. It's underway. Oh! Watch the follow through, and he knows it's there. He's just saying, carry that 10 pin, carry it. Yes. He looks at the score. Now suddenly he's thinking defensively. I need to stay behind the line, keep the ball on the lane, don't make any dumb mistakes here.
Needs 5 pins.
It's behind the line. It's in the pocket. That's it. What a tremendous finish. He said he needed to get himself together and make 4 good shots, and he certainly did. 4 in a row right there. He's actually made 5 great shots.
Sudden Sam Zurich. What a charge.
What a move, though, to move from the 3rd arrow out to the 2nd arrow in the middle of a championship match. Shows me a lot about his character. Really does. Finishes out. Leaves a 4-7. Finishes at 209 to win his 2nd title and his 1st one by himself.
Roth goes to Brooklyn, comes up empty. He's just bowling out the string, though.
Right. Mark did what he had to do all the way through. Just finally he ran into someone who threw some strikes at him. Sam had a 4-bagger and a double in the game and overcame 2 open frames, 2 missed spares. Mark strikes to finish with 178. He finished 2nd, which is right now at this point a disappointment to him. He definitely wanted to win. Sammy talking to Bill Supper there, and he definitely is a very happy young man at this point.
And even when he finds the pocket, Mark Roth leaves the 10 pin standing.
209-177. Sam Zurich has won his first PBA title by himself. He wins $13,000 and the 1983 Buffalo Open. We'll get back to Cheektowaga in a moment.
All right, we're up 15. We got this game won.
Yeah, you guys are buying a light beer from Miller.
Yeah, nice Philly.
One out to go.
Yeah, what can he do to us now?
Hey, I'll keep the change. Here's Rodney!
My turn!
everyday driving needs.
And here's our winner with a great charge in the 8th, 9th, and 10th frame, Sam Zurich for $13,000. Here to present the check is Jack Dolan, the general manager of Thruway Lanes. Thank you, Jack. Congratulations, Sam. And here to present the trophy, one of the sponsors' representatives, Dennis Stocklosa, the vice president of sales of Bell's Markets.
Congratulations, Sam.
Thank you very much. Sam, you won the doubles title on the PBA Tour. Now you've done it all by yourself. How do you feel?
I tell you, this is one of the most happiest days of my life. And I tell you, it's been 4 long years, and it was well worth it. I'm just the happiest person alive right now.
Congratulations to Sudden Sam Zurich. And certainly our thanks to Marshall Holman for giving us some thrills, and Mark Roth as well. And thanks to all you folks here at Thruway Lanes. Good night, everybody. The $100,000 Buffalo Open on USA has been brought to you in part by light beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. By Mobile Detergent Gasoline for your everyday driving needs. By Levi's Menswear, makers of Levi's Action Slacks. And by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is USA 1, and USA 1 is taking charge. For Mike Durbin, this is Al Trowick saying good night from Buffalo. We'll see you next week in Windsor, Ontario.